Just relaxing. Trying to turn the contrast up on my phone so I can see my beautiful face. You know, today started out a little sad for me. I felt a little overwhelmed. I felt like there was no relief in sight. But my wife really made me feel a lot better. With her constant love and support, she made me feel so much better. And she made me realize that we're together in this as a team, you know? And we've been through worse, and we've gotten through worse, and we'll get through worse again. Hmm? And one day all of this will be a distant memory. These hard times. So, the morale was improved, and then I went to go spend some time with a friend of mine named Max that also has a nice little YouTube channel. Good, not little YouTube channel, a good YouTube channel. Might be doing some collab here in the future. And he and I had a great time just talking and chilling. Max and his brother Scott. So that was cool, you know. And then, hey, what's up, Jaden? What's up? Thank you for liking everybody. Oh, another like. Thank you very much. Thank you. Yummy. Anyway, so after that, I went upstairs. I had some talk with my chat GPT that is this specialized chat GPT that I've made. It's called the Phoenix Doctrine. I'm going to put it on the Play Store one day. Make sure to like and subscribe, everybody, to keep on my artificial intelligence updates, huh? But I had a good conversation about my business and the direction that I'm headed in and the different bottlenecks that I'm finding. And we discovered a solution to be able to work forward in the future. So I think that hope is on the way. As Obama used to like to say, that treasonous man, you know? So I've gone from 3 likes to 2 likes, so someone didn't like something. I don't know. Maybe we got some Obama lovers in here. Whoever you are, if you are here, I love you. And thank you. Welcome to the stream. You know, I was reached out to by one of my fans the other day. Shout out to Raphael, who's got a range in Moriano. And we're going to be heading out there on the 13th and firing off some gats. You know what a gat is? A gat is a gun. You know. I do love my firearms. You know. Where's everybody from tonight? What's everybody doing? How's everybody doing? Who you with? Tell me what your interests are. Who you be with. Things to make you smile. I'll tell you what numbers to dial. And if you're going to be here for a while, you can call your crew. I can call my crew. And we can rendezvous at the bar around 2. How's that sound? Maybe. Someone liked and got my little Biggie reference. Thank you for that. Thank you for the silent acknowledgement of my, I love it when you call me Big Papa, right? What other good rhymes can I speak? What other good rhymes can I speak? Let's try, you must be used to me spending and all that sweet whining and dining, but I'm fucking you tonight. Here's another one. Some say the sex makes the... No, wait. Some say the X makes the sex spectacular. Let me lick you from your neck to your bacula. Chills up that spine, that ass is mine. Skip the wine and the candlelight. No Cristal tonight. If it's all right with you, we... I know you're used to slow CDs and Don P, but tonight it's 6 packs and 8 tracks while I hit them. Yeah. We attracted 38 people at one moment for a second, but they all drifted off. Now we have the core solid 6. Now we have the core solid 9. The 9 true lovers of the Republic. Huh? Why don't you tell me where you're from, everybody? Say hello. Make sure to like and subscribe. We just chill here in ProfessorShaun Studios, really. We talk nonsense. We talk nonsense and I lull you to sleep. I make you very sleepy. Very sleepy. Let's tell some war stories. Everybody loves war stories, you know. What's a good war story? Let's think here. I wish I had some more input from the audience to where I could feel what the general vibe was. You know, I remember this one time I had this girlfriend named Angela. And me and Angela were together for a couple of years. And then Angela had this friend named Christina who was underage. And she kept on hitting on me, you know? And I was like, no. Not to mention the fact that I was with Angela, right? Well, flash forward like 3-4 years. And Angela and I are still living together, but not together anymore. And then this girl calls me and she's like, oh my God, I've been looking for you. I'm in Las Vegas. I'm like, ah. And she's like 19 now. Super hot too. And we picked her up and we bought some Subway. And then we were sitting in like my doorway with like the Subway. And it was Christina and Angela and me like all sitting on the floor because like we didn't have a lot of shit in this apartment. We were so poor, you know. And Angela went up to go and get to the bathroom. And I took her Subway and put it outside the door and then closed the door and said to Christina, yo, I know you always wanted to hit it. And that was the beginnings of some great lovemaking between me and Christina, while Angela ended up eating her Subway in the hallway, or doing whatever happened with Angela after that. I was very bad with Angela, but she was a very low quality girl, you know, more of a workhorse than anything else. But she was a steady soldier for a long time, you know. Yeah, someone liked that story. Some other stories about the bitches I could tell. Let me tell you a story of betrayal. A terrible story of betrayal by a woman. Who would like to hear a story of betrayal? Well, I'll tell this story of betrayal. There was this girlfriend I had for 3 years, named Tracy. And I had been doing well. I had my own business. I was 23 years old, and it was a mobile mechanic service. I was doing well, you know, paying the bills. She was working in a law firm. We were doing everything 50-50, you know, paying half the rent. She was, I was. But my business went south, and I fell into a deep depression. I didn't want to go back to working at the Olive Garden or anything else, you know. So I devised a plan. I said, well, you know, these mechanics are kind of like prostitutes. They go out to somebody's house and perform a service, and then they come home with money for daddy, you know. All I do is book the appointments. But the problem with mechanics, there's too many specializations for a mechanic. But what other business model follows that? Anybody? Hookers, prostitutes, whores. See, they all go out to somebody's house and perform a service and come home with money for daddy. So I started looking for hookers that I could promote. And I finally found one. Her name was Anna, out of Florida. And I was about to call her one night at 8 o'clock. Had an appointment to call her, to talk to her about coming out to Las Vegas and joining the team, you know, turning some tricks for daddy. Well, that night, about 6 o'clock, Tracy came home. Now, mind you, I'm in the depths of depression. I'm trying to claw my way out of financial ruin, right? And Tracy comes home, and I go to give her a hug, and she pushes me away. And she says, I think it's best if I go stay with my parents for a little while. What? I thought she was joking. I started to laugh. But no, she was serious. And all my tears didn't matter. An hour later, she was out of the house. I didn't know how I was going to pay my rent. I didn't know how I was going to survive. 7 o'clock rolls around. I sat on the couch with a 45 in my hand and just felt so abandoned, so alone. You know, Tracy had been my ride or die girl. I loved her with all of my heart, you know. But at 8 o'clock, I put the gun down. I picked up the phone. And I called that prostitute. And she came out to Las Vegas and she started turning tricks. And then I had money for my rent. And 2 weeks later, Tracy came crawling back. And you know why she had left? Because some guys on basically an MMO named EverQuest 2, had convinced her that she could have a life of socialization and happiness. And all she had to do was get away from me. So that's what she had done. Only to realize that it was all a scam. They just wanted to use her and separate her from me. And she loved me and wanted to be with me, especially now that I was a pimp and no longer a loser. You see? But I never fully trusted her again after that, even though we would be together for 8 years after that. Leaving me at my darkest moment. Someone liked the story. Leaving me at my darkest moment. After that, I said, well, I'll pimp now. And obviously I'm gonna fuck other women. And you can't fuck other dudes. Because, no. Then I started pressing for the second girlfriend, you know. The second girlfriend that we got in the house, her name was Tasha. Now, Tasha was ugly. In fact, I picked her up out of a homeless shelter. Yeah. But Tasha was more for like training purposes, someone that we could really treat like garbage, you know, that I could reinforce to Tracy that, you know, the girls were just like disposable, that she's my queen, you know. Mission accomplished, and eventually Tasha was tossed from the house due to cuntiness. And then came Crystal. Now, Crystal was an interesting story. First, Crystal was real good, you know. Man, those big old titties and everything else. I loved fucking Crystal, you know. But Crystal was like 19, right? Now, I was only like 25 at the time. 24. But she was going to school to be a nurse, right? Well, she was going to school to be a nurse, and she was working as a caretaker in a nursing home at nighttime. And so what she did was she quit her job at the nursing home and would just come to my house and hang out with me and Tracy all night. Obviously, other things ensued, you know? And that went on well for like 6 or 8 months. And we were real all happy together. And then one day, her mother found out that she was no longer working at the nursing home. And so she didn't have an excuse as to why she wasn't at home all night. And I'm like, why don't you just tell her you have a boyfriend? But she was real weird about this shit. So she just stopped coming over at night. I said, okay, well, if you're not going to come over at night, well, I'm not going to give you your allowance. You know what I mean? And then she was all right for a while, and then Valentine's Day came around, and the day before Valentine's Day, she came over, right? We had some great sex. Everything was great. I noticed that it was a little bit weird that she had colored her hair, right, to this really weird color. And I didn't like it. But whatever, you know, I'm not paying for the girl anymore, so whatever, do whatever you want. And then the next day, Valentine's Day, rolls around and she doesn't show up. And then I'm like freaking out. I'm like, where is she? Where is she? And like eventually, like at nighttime on Valentine's Day, I'm calling hospitals, looking everywhere to see where she could be. And I do an in-custody search and I find out that she's been arrested for soliciting prostitution. Then I go on Craigslist and I find where she had been posting that she was trying to sell that ass because I wasn't giving her her allowance anymore. So I called her mother and I told her, I said, listen, this is what's going on with your daughter. And her mother was not pleased. Made her move back to Ohio or something from Vegas. And that was the end of the Crystal story. After Crystal, well, other women followed. That'll be a story for another day. I think I've told enough for tonight on the women front. If you're just joining now, make sure to watch the whole thing. This was a pretty good live. Make sure to like and subscribe to catch future lives. Hit that notification bell so you'll know when Professor Shaun's online. And make sure to stay in touch. Remember, when you hear your family. Good night, everybody.